Let's scrumble. This is my buddy Sully. In this video, we're going to go over a hand targeting exercise. Now, hand targeting is something a lot of people ask me in class, why are we doing this? There are a lot of practical applications for it. It's a nice way to call your dog to you, so it can be an alternative recall. It's a great way to redirect your dog. If it's targeting playing too rough with another puppy during puppy class, we really encourage greatly having people come over and targeting to get their dog to move away from another puppy to stop playing too exuberantly. It's also a nice way to reposition your puppy if you want to take pictures or move it around without manhandling it. So the hand targeting exercise, what we do in class is we tell everybody that we want them to give a big karate chop like this. Now the reason we do that is dogs' eyes are very attracted to movement. Now, they're not very great for detail or for color. And so when you're doing this, make sure that you're flashing your hand with a good solid movement. A lot of people kind of go like this. You're not going to get the same response from your dog if you go like that. Now the progression for this is turn, then lean, then one step, then multiple steps. And when you're chopping, you want to make sure you're chopping on either side of your dog's face, on their cheek side. If you chop and your puppy doesn't go for it, pull back and chop a little closer. Now, when we're doing the touch command, we're going to first communicate to the dog that it's doing what we want by using a marker word. I'm going to be using the word yes. So as soon as the dog's nose touches my hand, I'm going to be saying the word yes. Now I'm going to flash that hand, like I said, at the dog's nose level, and I'm going to do it so close on either side that the dog is naturally curious and leans towards it and touches. But don't reward if your puppy doesn't touch and just comes close to it. If that's the case, pull back and close and touch a little bit closer. All right, let's see if we can get a nice touch here. And I'm going to alternate hands. Yes. Now, once I chop, I keep my hand frozen. There's an alternative way of doing that I'm going to show you here in a second, but the way we teach in puppy class typically is to have people keep their hand frozen. So let's do that again. Yes. And then I move the treat to the hand. I put all my treats in this hand. Now I go, yes. So you say yes when the nose touches. That was a little bit late on my part. Yes. Yes. So you saw we just achieved turn, lean, single step, and multiple steps. And now a kiss. Oh, Sully's a lover. All right. So now again, if you're chop here and your puppy doesn't go to it like he did, then pull back and chop closer. If your puppy is jumping, you're probably holding your hand up a little bit too high. And if I just go like this, well, Sully bailed me out. Most dogs are not going to do that. So again, give yourself a nice strong chop like that. Now, after your dog gets pretty proficient with this, you can transition from using a marker word to a cue. A cue is essentially a command word. You don't want to use a cue or a command word until you're 90% sure the dog is going to consistently do the action. If that's not the case, we do the cue when the dog does the action, or excuse me, we do the marker to, so the dog knows what the action is. So for example, yes. So yes was for touching your nose to my hand. Now I'm going to go ahead, because he already knows this, I'm going to show you how you would transition to using an actual cue. Touch. Let's do it without saying it weird. Touch. Now, in point of fact, my flash of a movement is probably attracting his attention. So that's okay. As long as you flash, you know your dog's going to go ahead and do it, that's fine. So some of the words people use are target, touch. Another one that I particularly like is boop. Now you're flashing with an empty hand. When we do this in class, people are always like doing it with, they're flashing it here. Don't do that. We don't want to lure the dog with a treat. We want your dog to go to your empty hand and know that it's going to get a reward for that. Yes. Okay, so the first this is the first version of doing this. Now, our behavior consultant Laura likes doing this a little bit differently. I'm going to show you how Laura likes to do it. Good. Now, I dropped some treats, crumbs there, that's why he did that. So I can actually leave it in my treat pouch and show you again. Good. So the second way is just as soon as the dog touches, you mark, and then you just reach and give them the treat. There's no real distinction or difference between. If your dog is having a problem going to your hand, you can go ahead and pull it out and take it either way. Now, a more extended or a more advanced version is using something like this. This is called a touch stick. And Laura uses this a lot when she's working with smaller breed dogs, and you were a little bit smaller than the Dalmatian we were using. Now, you saw he kind of moved away from this. Dogs are not big fans of things they don't understand. So if your dog, you pull out a touch stick, and you shouldn't do a touch stick until your puppy is comfortable doing it with your hand. Touch. Good. And you're actually doing what I want you to do. So if your dog doesn't like something, put it down on the ground. Let it be static. Let your puppy come and investigate it. After it does, and give it a treat. And if your puppy won't come near it, you can put a treat near it. If your puppy won't come all the way to it, you might have to put the treat over here. Your puppy approaches and walks away. That will eventually get your puppy closer and closer to it. Now, eventually what I want to do is touch his nose with this. Let's see if I can do that with Sully. So, touch. Actually, I should just mark with that one. Now he knows where the treats are, so I'm going to take some treats out of my hand, close my pouch, and he saw that little jump. So that's an indication he's uncomfortable. So, yes. I know, it's hard, huh? Yes. Yes. So you see, it's just a little variation. I didn't plan on doing this, but he wouldn't like it when I was holding it. And so if I just move it a little bit, now he didn't touch it that time, so I'm not going to reward him for that. And if he has difficulty, and I think right now he's just more interested in the treats. Let's see if I can try it here. Yes. You're going to do one more for the road. So if you're holding treats here, a lot of times the dog will look at your hand. So you can put them back in your pouch or put them behind you. Let's see if I do it again. Yes. The idea with the touch stick is if the dog doesn't want to be close to me, this actually expands. I'm going to do it slowly and away from him. So if he didn't want to be towards me, I could hold the touch stick over there, and he can go touch that with increasing some distance, increasing the distance between him and me. There are also, sometimes people will put this on a little pedestal, and so it can be placed in different places, so you can actually condition your dog to go over there, touch it, come back to you. This is a great game. You can actually play the touch game with multiple people in your house. So you could have maybe one person here, and so he's off camera right now with Addie, and so I can say, touch! And then Addie could do touch, and then he runs back to her. And so it's a nice way to practice a recall. Now, it's not designed for a recall, but if your dog doesn't want to do a come and you say touch, they run over to you, it actually works pretty good. Let's say I want to have Sully look at the picture here. If I try to position him, see how he's resisting? He's not going to like being manhandled. But what if I go like this? Sit. It's a nice way for me to reposition and get him to look at the camera without having to manhandle him. Sully. Sit. Well, this is my buddy Sully, and this is how you can use the touch exercise to reposition your dog and help them engage with people.
Quest, you are a goofball.